Ladies, gentlemen, and haradrim of all ages, Season 5 is proving to be quite special and unique in a number of ways. But one of the most notable ones is, well, Mythic uniques. These items have always been heralded as the pinnacle of power in Diablo 4 if you want to be in the strongest possible build for your class, or even just the strongest possible version of whatever your build is. You almost always were expected to have at least one specific one of these. And until Season 4, that was quite a tough ask to get a specific drop, not only of a Mythic unique to begin with, but of a specific one that fits within your setup. Season 4 made this easier by adding a bunch of guaranteed resplendent spark drops, which are the crafting material that you can use to make a Mythic unique of your choice at the Alchemist, and it became common for every player to have at least one Mythic that fit their chosen build, at least by the halfway point of the season. But that was about the limit for most people unless you were properly devoted to farming these items. This season, however, well, as of recording this, it is about 3 days into the season, and with only about 4 hours of farming total, probably, I have gotten every Mythic unique that Rogue can get. One of them was through transmuting with sparks even, mind you, but everyone has been in my inventory at one point or another, and in total I have had 8 Mythic uniques drop so far. That said, let's talk about why that is happening and how you can do the same thing in case you aren't up to date on the changes made to this grind. We'll talk about how to get your first ones a little bit easier with the guaranteed resplendent sparks that you can get in the game. Then we'll talk about the fastest ways currently to get more resplendent sparks past that, or just more Mythic uniques in general, with a note that there is something that is definitely unconfirmed but a bit funky going on with one of the bosses that may be increasing their specific drop rate, so it's important to think about. First up then, let's talk why this is happening to begin with. The big main difference from last season is that now every torment version of a boss, meaning the ones that are summoned with Stygian stones, has an equal 7.5% chance per kill to drop a Mythic unique. Specifically, each of the 5 unique drops that happens when you kill one of these torment bosses has a 1.5% chance of being a Mythic, so that is the total chance put together, 7.5%. This means on average, 1 in every 13 to 14 torment boss kills should result in a Mythic unique dropping, and so the moment that you are strong enough to kill torment bosses, your chances of having these items increase significantly. This is notably, though, different from last season, where Duriel and Andariel specifically had a much higher drop rate of Mythic uniques than any other boss, so it limited the types of materials that you could use for this. Now that all of these bosses, on Torment at least, have an equal rate of these drops, as long as you have Stygian stones, you can make any of the bosses drop Mythics equally, and the big thing that this does, more than just letting you actually do the easier bosses for the same drop chance, is it lets you spread out the boss mat requirements, because not a lot of people will have a lot of purely Duriel mats, whereas for the most part, you'll have a lot of general ladder boss materials to be able to do lots of different ones, so as long as you have the stones to make them Torment, all of them will give you Mythic uniques. That said, then comes the next barrier, Stygian stones. Last season, these only dropped from high-tier pit runs, really, and even then, their actual drop rate was problematically low, resulting in just a relatively low amount of these materials floating around and making it very hard for most people to properly farm torment bosses. This season, they drop fairly consistently from the material chest in Tier 7 infernal hordes and above. You can get a ton even earlier than that just from the reputation track, and then also the last couple of chapters of the season journey too, and then past that, farming Tier 7 infernal hordes and just spam opening the materials chest at the end of it gives you a decent drop rate of Stygian stones, usually 1 stone for every 80 or so aether that you spend on the chest on average, which is a pretty good return rate. But then we have the next consideration of important note too, which is that the ladder bosses no longer require you to reset the dungeon and go in from the beginning again in between kills. This was something that significantly inflated the time required to kill bosses, even if you had a good flow of materials and were good at actually doing the killing part too. But now, because the room just resets itself immediately when the boss dies, you can summon them pretty much back to back if you want to. That said, most people will still dip quickly to salvage or stash stuff in between kills, but it still shaves off a good minute of the faffing around time in between kills from the normal loop of these ladder bosses. And when the kills start to get quick enough in the actual combat time, this time difference adds up a hell of a lot in between the kills over, let's say, an hour of boss runs or so. And so that's basically what's going on. That's why this is happening. You can farm any Torment boss for Mythic uniques now, even the ones that are easier to actually kill if you aren't yet strong enough for the Torment Duriel or Andariel. But this also just opens up a lot of boss materials to be used for Mythic farming that previously couldn't be, so the ability to farm these is just easier now. The Stygian stones to farm Torment bosses are also more plentiful, and you can resummon the bosses faster too to make these repeat kills, these farms, significantly more efficient than they used to be. That said, let's move forward to talk about the guaranteed resplendent sparks quickly. As more of a reminder, this is actually quite similar to last season. You get 1 guaranteed spark from the final box of the reputation track as part of the seasonal questline. You get 1 guaranteed spark the first time that you kill any of the Torment ladder bosses, and then you get the final guaranteed resplendent spark from your first time killing Uber Lilith this season. It takes 4 of these sparks to make a Mythic unique, so that is 3 out of 4 guaranteed simple drops. As for how to get more past that, if you are someone who likes ults, you can just level an ult and farm reputation simultaneously, as the end of reputation box will always contain one of these for every character that you make. Alternatively, though, you can, well, salvage a Mythic unique. This season, they drop quicker than any previous season, and so it doesn't feel weird to tell you to salvage the ones you don't really care about, so that you can use them to make ones that you actually want to have. Especially the first one that you don't actually want to have, because you will already have 3 sparks waiting for you from the other guaranteed activities. That said, now it's time for the holy grail of this, and again, I have no way of actively proving this. There's not been like data mining to show this or anything like that, but the Beast in Ice is funky as fuck on Torment difficulty. His damage is insane. He will one-shot people that have 0 of the actual debuff stacks that increase the damage you take, people who otherwise would never be one-shot by even Torment, Duriel, or Andariel unless they had 4 or more stacks. His health is comparatively weirdly much lower than every other Torment boss as well, so he is the highest damaging and lowest health pool put together of all Torment bosses, and my theory personally is that this is tied to him now being properly level 200, as last season, even on Torment, he was listed as level 150. That said, knowing this, once we were strong enough to basically one-shot it before it did any dangerous moves, it became the best farm. Obviously, because the lowest health pool means the fastest kill, and if you can rush it down, then the one-shots weren't a threat, so it was a consistent farm. What I found very, very quickly, though, was not just me, but my entire group was having more Mythic uniques drop from Torment, Beast, and Ice than any other one of the Torment bosses, despite them supposed to be having an equal rate now. Of my Mythic farming time, personally, about 40% of it has been on Torment Duriel, 30% of it has been on Torment, Beast, and Ice, 10% on Torment Grigoire, 10% on Torment Zir, and then the last percentage just sort of split between the others. Of my 8 Mythic uniques that have dropped so far, the first one was from a Torment Zir, one of them was from Torment Andariel, and then the other 6, all of the other 6, have been from Torment, Beast, and Ice. This could be entirely conjecture, it could be superstition or confirmation bias, whatever words you want to use to describe it. It's all possible that this is just in my head. But I will say, when a boss is bugged to have really messed up both damage and health stats, and when that change may be tied to its level being different than it used to be, it's also entirely possible that this is something related to the level raising itself, and I could totally see drop rate being tied to the technical monster level of the latter bosses, and a mistake being made in regards to that. Maybe it's not real, maybe it is, but if I'm wrong, you lose nothing, because in theory, every Torment boss should have equal drop chances. So if I'm right and one of them doesn't, then you lose nothing for trying that one. So you might as well give it a go and see for yourself. That just about does it for today then, everyone. Just a full rundown of what is going on with Mythic uniques right now, why they are so easy to get compared to all prior seasons, how to take advantage of all of that yourself, and then my maybe slightly crazy theory that has an unusual amount of personal sample size to back it up at this point. I hope you've all enjoyed this video then, and I hope it helps you on your journey to reaching the maximum power of your builds and your class. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.